Hello again, everyone. Todd Michael Putnam from Creative Adventure Tables, bringing you another adventure table idea. And this is Side Quests of Skyrim. Side Quests of Skyrim. So, if anybody who's been watching the channel for a while knows I love a variety of video games. I play Worlds of Warcraft casually. I play Skyrim and stuff like that. I also like World War I flight simulators, but not much overlap there. But anyways, Skyrim, I take a lot of inspiration from Skyrim for adventures and stuff. And the reason this is called Side Quests of Skyrim is because one cool thing about that video game is, aside from the main quest itself, they've got all these radiant quests or whatever that just as you're wandering along in the woods or whatever, you can find this other thing, and there becomes a whole big long quest chain that you can do that makes it interesting. And so the reason why I'm using that as an example, I chose that as an example, is because it illustrates a great way as game masters that we can take wilderness travel and turn them into something fun. And so what I'm going to do basically is just kind of this particular table is set up to basically highlight all the things that you can do as side quests. And the first one I'm going to zoom in here, and I've only put 2 of these out. I should have put more. But if you're familiar with the game, the Stormcloaks, who should be in blue, I know. But the Stormcloaks and the Empire are fighting against each other. They're warring factions because there's a civil war going on. And that's an example of what you can have when you're traveling along and then the players could enter into or see a conflict between warring factions. It could be between local militia and bandits. It could be, actual Civil War factions. It could be, excuse me, could be almost anything, but just multiple factions against one another, where the heroes have an opportunity or a choice whether or not they want to participate or whether they want to bypass it. Their choice. They can always do what they want. But if there was a swarm of, in this case, Stormcloaks and Empire, soldiers that were fighting one another, then the heroes would have an opportunity to say they could take one side or the other. And maybe one side had done them wrong, and so it was a chance to get revenge. Or maybe one side, is the one that they think is going to win, and so they can get in on the good side and help try and tip the scales in their balance. But it's an example of just something that is a side quest you come across, and there's a fight that's going on, and it's an opportunity for the heroes, they can choose it or they cannot, to be a part of that conflict. Again, you'd want to have more than 2. My apologies, I just threw 2 of them out there, but you can have warring factions against one another, and it's a great opportunity as a side quest when they're traveling through the wilderness. Another opportunity for a side quest is right here is good old-fashioned hunting. Which they have inside Skyrim all the time, where you can see that there are deer or other game that are going along. And of course, I've got a hunter up here, perched up on a ledge, looking down to hunt deer. And so, if the players start to run low on food or anything like that, you can start doing, depending on the system that you use, you can start doing tracking checks or skill checks of any of that nature to see if they can find the game, and then maybe stealth checks to see if they can get close enough that they can actually fire arrows or ranged missiles or use magic or whatever they need to do in order to try and kill the game so that they can get food. Obviously, launch a fireball at it or something like that, well, then it's either pre-cooked or it's just been totally charred and useless, depending on how they want to roll that, how much damage they do. But the need to survive and get food and stuff is another side quest that can pop up during these side travels, during these the wilderness travels, and so you can have it become a sudden side quest. It may not be the primary thing they were looking to do, but all of a sudden, hey, wait, our food supplies got spoiled by the rain, or they got washed away, for example, when they were crossing the river ford, and so now they're going to have to scrounge for food, and so hunting becomes a side quest that you can throw into the adventure. And then, of course, the classic side quest for Skyrim is a dragon is just randomly flying around and decides to attack the players. Of course, in the game, you can kill the dragon and you absorb their soul, and you get these shouts and stuff, and everybody knows Fus Rodan, etc. But you could always have dragons scale to the level of the players that it can come down and it can try and get a meal out of them or extort gold out of them, however you want to play it. But just a flying dragon, there's no sign of it anywhere, and then all of a sudden it swoops in over the trees, lands down in front of them, or does diving attacks where it does, flame throws flame at them, or frost, depending on the type of dragon that they have, whatever the various breath weapons are, lightning attacks, of course. But that's something that, and then if they start doing damage, does the dragon just take off and leave like it probably would? It's not going to fight to the death. It's going to choose easier prey. Then it becomes a side quest. The players want to see which direction it flies off in. Maybe that leads it back to the dragon's lair, and that becomes a side quest that the characters can have. Another example of a side quest in the woods is, of course, there's either bears, or standard in Skyrim, there's wolves, packs of wolves that are roaming around and that go after the characters because they're hungry. And so they might be camped out for the night or just walking along, and all of a sudden from out of the woods a pack of hungry wolves comes out and ravages the players, attacks the players and does all kinds of injury to them. And so maybe they chase them off, or maybe they kill them outright. But if they chase them off, they might end up trying to again chase them back to their den to find out where their den is at, and if they have any treasure there, or if there's anything salvageable, or if they just want to kill them so that other travelers don't have to face them. So that could be a side quest. And then now I just put this across the river. It's not technically a quest, of course, but just simply making it across certain types of barriers. For example, in this case, of course, I've got a kind of an icy scape or whatever it is, but the river itself isn't frozen over. But there are areas of rocks or whatever it is that are slippery and covered with ice that the heroes need to try and go across in order to make it to the entrance of cave that they see. And of course, whenever you're playing Skyrim and you're traveling along, there's always some kind of point of interest, usually a temple or an abandoned fort or a cave or something like that, ruins, and that you see, and then you have the opportunity to just turn that into a side quest of, hey, let's go in here and see what this is all about. And so that is also something you can do. It may not again have been on the player's radar, but if they're just trying to get from point A to point B, and all of a sudden there's some dungeons to explore, there's some caverns to explore, and it looks like there's something there that might pique their interest, an opportunity for wealth or magical items, things of that nature, or just the ever-present desire to get XP to get to the next level, that obviously affords an opportunity, and that becomes a side quest. And then inside any such thing, you just might want to have different types of creatures and stuff. Like the beginning layers here, I've got the frost trolls, or the abominable snowmen, as it were, that are in the front layers of it. But then going back further in, there could be bandits that are camped in there. Or in this case, I've also got ice wraiths, which are a part of Skyrim. But those things could be they're like. They're kind of like flying ice serpents, basically, in Skyrim. So, and those things can make a cool foe to have to defeat. And then deeper in the cavern in Skyrim, of course, there's not usually, but often there's a word wall, which is like a special monument that when you come too close to it, all of a sudden the power of the monument basically reaches out at you and fills you with a dragon shout, which you can use in the game. But in your game, whatever it is you're using it for, there could be some kind of a mysterious wall or mysterious artifact that you come across that the players have to discover what it does and how to activate it to get the benefit of it, or to destroy it if they think it's some kind of a monument of evil. They had no idea about this thing when they were traveling in the forest, but then let's say there was a storm that was happening outside, and so they had to seek shelter, and so that's what drove them into the cave. Or maybe they just decided they wanted to enter it itself, but for whatever reason that they went in there, all of a sudden now they've got a new side quest because there's this mysterious monument that they didn't know about at the beginning of the adventure, but now it might be all-consuming. That might require them to go out through the rest of the cavern itself in order to gather clues or gather things that can destroy it and or activate it, depending on what they believe it does and what they're trying to accomplish with it. So the point of all of this is just that wilderness travel, kind of like in Skyrim, doesn't have to be boring. You've got all kinds of side quests. There's factions that you can find. There's hunting and stuff that you can do. There's wandering boss mobs. In this case, I just chose a dragon, but it could be anything that comes across. But flying creatures are great, I will say that. However, also great for wandering boss mobs. Not quite as good, but if you're doing riverside stuff, is creatures that come out of the water that can chase after them. Still not as good as flying because that can reach them anywhere. But if they're either traveling by boat or if they're using the river as a guide, and if maybe too far on either side of the river is impassable, so they're forced to go along the edge of the river, then random boss monster attack type things or random encounters along the river are also fantastic. And then you have like quasi-intelligent creatures like trolls or things like that the players can run across. They're not going to have organized tactics, but they are relatively intelligent enough to defend themselves and to maybe work modestly at some level together. And things of that nature. And then, of course, you're going to have completely unintelligent monsters, but they're highly dangerous, like the ice wraiths. So that's it. That is Skyrim side quests. Just basically the idea of how to set things up so that if you're running traveling type adventures, that you can have a variety of encounters that they may choose to go past, or they may try and participate and absorb the whole section, the whole session that you guys are playing at. So please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the videos, and appreciate you taking the time to check them out and leave your comments, and I will see you guys next adventure. Take care. Bye.